You want HR to stand by your rating? Fill out the self review properly. Why do companies do this? Have a long vesting schedule so that you stay with the company over these years and help the company achieve these goals. Hi everyone. Welcome back to another Uno Tumblr video. Before I go any further, let me first thank you guys for all the love that you've been showing to these videos. My videos have already crossed around 10,000 views combined, and it has truly been an amazing experience creating and bringing these videos to you. I have a lot more exciting stuff lined up, so do keep watching. Also, in case you have not subscribed to my channel yet, request you to please click on the subscribe button and please do so. It will truly encourage me and keep me going with the same enthusiasm. So in our previous video, we spoke about money matters with Dora. We covered hiring, salary negotiations, performance reviews. It truly was a masterclass, right? So in case you haven't seen it, please see it. I'm adding some takeaways from that particular discussion in this particular video. Okay. So number one, startup hiring is very individual based. In many cases, the CEO comes up and says, hey, we're getting this person on board, so can you please make it work? Second, a lot of CEOs hire on LinkedIn. They're very accessible there and usually will respond through DMs in case you want to talk to them. Third, it's okay to talk about money and salary with HR, and it's best if you do it right in the beginning, straight off the bat. Fourth, HR does not like negotiation, but they also understand that it is important. It's okay to negotiate, but it's not okay to be greedy. Fifth, self-review during appraisals is a very important and a very underutilized component. You want HR to stand by your rating? Fill out the self-review properly. And sixth, the session-based layoffs have become acceptable in a way, especially due to all these large companies that are laying off people. The assessment will be based on what you have been doing in that particular gap and how have you been utilizing your time. Many more such nuggets in the entire conversation. I'm linking it up over here. I urge you to please see the video, and I'm sure it will be of a lot of help. Now, in addition to the topics discussed previously, there are money matters elements that you should be aware of, and that is what we will go through today. Okay. ESOPs. This was one piece that we couldn't cover in that particular video, so I thought of doing it separately. ESOP, or an employee stock option plan, as you will know, is an add-on compensation structure which offers you ownership of the company as an employee. This ownership, of course, comes with certain conditions. The company first prepares an ESOP document which details these conditions. These conditions broadly include the following things. They include the number of shares to be given to you. They include the price at which the company will offer these shares to you. The vesting schedule, or the timeline over which these stocks will come to you. This is usually spread out over a 3 to 4 year period. So let's say you'll get 20% in year 1, 20% in year 2, 30% in year 3, and 30% in year 4. Why do companies do this? Have a long vesting schedule so that you stay with the company over these years and help the company achieve these goals. Vesting is a very important concept, and you'll keep hearing about it when you get some ESOPs. The vesting period post which these options can be exercised by the employee, that's another important element which is part of the ESOP document which comes to you. And of course, the conditions which need to be fulfilled for successful vesting are also part of this document. To give you an example, the entire vesting can be scrapped in case of termination with cause. If the employee leaves after a year, then the employee only gets, let's say, 20%, and the balance ESOPs will be scrapped and will go back to the company, and so on and so forth. Okay, what are the taxation elements in case of ESOPs? Now, while the instrument overall is an employee-friendly instrument, one should also be aware of the tax implications of this particular instrument. There are two key tax events in case of ESOPs. So as an employee, you will get taxed on the date on which you exercise your options. This tax amount will be the differential between the exercise price and the prevailing fair market value of each share. So for example, let's say you exercise your shares at rupees 65 and the fair market value at that point in time is rupees 100. So you will get taxed on the value of rupees 35, 100 minus 65. The timing for this tax has been made friendly, otherwise the tax burden will fall on the employees even before they get a chance to sell their shares. This has been a recent amendment and it's extremely welcome. The other tax implication that will come your way will be once you actually sell your shares in any transaction, and this is a capital gains tax. At this point in time, the tax amount will depend on the differential in the fair market value at the time of exercise and the fair market value at which the transaction takes place. So going with our earlier example, the fair market value at the time of exercise was rupees 100, and let's say the transaction happens at a fair market value of rupees 140. So you will be taxed on rupees 40. Right, 140 minus 100. Long-term or short-term capital gains rates will apply based on how long you've held these shares for. Moving on. So what are the ESOP numbers one should aim for when they are going into a job, right? Now, this is a very often asked question, and of course, extremely understandable. You don't want to ask for the moon, and you also don't want to get a lesser amount and leave money on the table. So to understand this, let us also be aware of how much ESOPs do companies usually keep to give to their employees. Usually, companies allocate anywhere between 10 to 15% of their total shares as ESOPs. More shares can be allocated if the need arises, but this is usually the starting point for a lot of companies, and this number will vary based on the valuation of the company, the stage of the company. Early stage companies might have a larger number, and so on and so forth. Okay, if you want to know how much ESOPs you should ask for, you can figure it out in two ways. You can assume a 10 to 15% pool and then ask for an equity share based on that, and obviously this will be based on your seniority levels as well. So let's say you are joining at a CXO level, so anywhere between 2 to 5% based on your experience and then added skills is something that is gettable. For an SVP or a VP role, anything between 1 to 3% and then a top up based on that is gettable. For an AVP or a manager role, anything between 0.5 to 1% and then a top up on that is gettable. And for key roles below this, anything between 0.25 to 0.75% is usually the range. Obviously, there's a top up on that. The other way is to calculate a top up based on your fixed compensation and then play around with that. So let's assume you are on a salary of around 30 lakhs and the startup that you're joining can afford to pay you only 20 lakhs. Your desirable salary is 35 lakhs. So you can say, okay, fine, give me 20 in cash and give me the 15 in ESOPs. How will somebody arrive at the actual ESOP number? They will take the current valuation of the company, let's say it's 30 crores, and divide it by the total number of shares outstanding, let's say around 10,000 shares. Per share price will be around 30,000 rupees, and ESOPs of 15 lakh value would mean 50 ESOPs will come your way. Now, assuming the startup keeps 15% of current valuation as ESOPs, that would mean a total ESOP pool of around 4.5 crores. And which translates into 1500 ESOPs, and you get 3.3% of the total ESOP pool that will come your way. What should be your equity ask if you're joining as a co-founder? Another very common question that comes my way is that, what should be my equity as a co-founder? Well, the answer will depend on what stage you're getting in and what you're bringing to the table. Let's say you are co-founding it along with a couple of other people right from the beginning. And in that opinion, I really feel that the equal split is the most fair way to go. Anything apart from that, in my opinion, should be a no-go, as it might make you a lesser of the equals. So let's say a 45-45 split between two co-founders to begin with, and 10% for ESOPs, or let's say 30-30-30 each between the three co-founders with 10% for ESOPs. Of course, you can vary it from case to case, but keep this as a starting point and then work backwards from there. Right? Equal split is the way to go in case you are coming in right in the beginning. If you're coming in slightly later, then of course, your ESOP number could be lesser than the original founders, but it should be higher than what any, let's say, CXO is getting in the company. Typically at this stage, folks can get anywhere between 7 to 20% of the company. My suggestion, aim for at least 10% or above, depending on what stage you are getting in. If you are coming in slightly early, then push for something closer to 15%. If you're coming in later, then push for something close to 10%. Having a double-digit share will ensure that you have sufficient say in the decision-making process. Plus, it will also account for the dilution in future rounds. Anything less than that, and you could end up being lesser equal in the cap table. These are, of course, indicative numbers, and what you finally arrive at will be based on your experience, your role, the stage of the startup, the prevailing ESOP policy at that point in time, and so on and so forth. The value of these ESOPs, of course, will increase over time, or rather should increase over time. So the potential value of the ESOPs is the more important factor than the actual number of units. They won't matter after a point in time, right? And usually if you and the company are both doing well, more ESOPs will be handed out to you. This is usually the norm in many large companies, and a large number of CEOs and CXOs actually get more ESOPs if they continue to perform well. Okay, so hope this is of help to you, and you will be able to take an informed decision regarding your compensation and money matters. This rounds up our discussion around money matters, and I hope this has been helpful. What I'll do is I'll put all the money matters videos in a playlist so that you can watch the entire series at your convenience. All right, bye everyone, and like always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. See you guys next time with a lot more.